Hello. Today I will be presenting the paper, A Psychologically Rich Life, Beyond Happiness and Meaning, published in Psychological Review in 2021 by Shigehiro Oishi and Aaron Westgate. This paper proposes a significant expansion to how psychological science conceptualizes a good life. Currently, research on well-being is dominated by a dichotomy. On one side, we have hedonic well-being, or a happy life, defined by comfort, joy, and stability. On the other, we have eudaimonic well-being, or a meaningful life, defined by purpose and virtue. But the authors argue this is incomplete. Does this cover the full range of human experience? What about lives that are neither happy nor meaningful in the traditional sense, like the life of a struggling novelist or an adventurer? Are these not also good lives? The authors introduce a third dimension, psychological richness. They define this as a life characterized by a variety of interesting and perspective-changing experiences. Unlike happiness, a rich life isn't necessarily pleasant. It can involve awkwardness, difficulty, or even tragedy. But these experiences add depth. The ultimate outcome of a rich life is not just satisfaction or contribution, but wisdom. Here is how the three dimensions compare. A happy life is built on stability and comfort, often facilitated by money and relationships. A meaningful life is built on significance and coherence, facilitated by moral principles. A psychologically rich life is built on novelty and complexity. Its facilitators are curiosity, spontaneity, and energy. And while a happy life leads to satisfaction, a rich life leads to wisdom. The paper presents strong evidence that richness is distinct. First, factor analyses consistently show that a three-factor model fits the data better than combining richness with happiness or meaning. Second, analysis of obituaries shows that lives described as rich are often distinct from those described as happy. Third, experimental evidence using visual illusions, like Figure 1, shows that complex stimuli increase self-reported psychological richness without necessarily increasing happiness. Complexity engages us, even if it doesn't make us happy. The predictors are also unique. A happy life is predicted by extroversion, stability, and high socioeconomic status. A meaningful life is linked to tradition and religiosity. In contrast, a psychologically rich life is strongly predicted by openness to experience and curiosity. Politically, it correlates with liberalism and a willingness to defy the system. Cognitively, it relates to holistic thinking. But do people actually want this life? The author surveyed people across 9 countries. While happiness was the most popular choice, a consistent minority, around 7 to 17%, would choose a psychologically rich life even at the expense of happiness or meaning. Furthermore, when asked about their biggest life regrets, about a third of people said that undoing the regret would have made their life psychologically richer. This suggests we implicitly value richness. A crucial implication of this theory is how we view suffering. Aristotle noted that a happy life requires good fortune. Tragedy ruins it. However, a psychologically rich life can integrate tragedy. Survivors of natural disasters or personal crises often report lower happiness, but their lives gain depth and perspective. This framework allows us to see value in the darker moments of life, acknowledging that they contribute to a life well lived. In conclusion, Oishi and Westgate argue that it is time to move beyond the hedonic-eudaimonic dichotomy. By recognizing psychological richness, we validate the lives of the explorers, the artists, and those who have grown through adversity. A good life doesn't always have to be happy or meaningful. Sometimes it is enough for it to be interesting. Finally, I would like to offer 3 practical tips on how to cultivate a psychologically rich life, based on my interpretation of the author's framework. First, change the routine. A rich life is fueled by novelty. You don't need to move to a foreign country to find it. Start small. Take a different route to work, cook a meal with ingredients you've never used, or listen to a genre of music you usually ignore. These small doses of variety accumulate to create a sense of richness. Second, reframe trouble. When things go wrong, a flat tire, a failed project, an awkward encounter, try to shift your perspective. Instead of just seeing it as a blocker to happiness, ask yourself, how does this add to my story? View these difficulties as necessary plot twists that make your narrative more complex and interesting. Third, seek the other. Psychological richness requires changing your perspective. Actively seek out art, literature, or conversations with people who challenge your worldview. Comfort zones are safe, but they are rarely rich. Engaging with the unfamiliar is the fastest way to gain the wisdom that defines a psychologically rich life. Thank you for watching.